Welcome to the part 2 of Ultimate Cycle Analysis, where we learn how we can predict and forecast Bitcoin and altcoin price in the short term for the next days, for the next weeks, using cycle indicators. I'm sure you have never seen this kind of material before, so buckle up and let's jump straight into the chart. What you can see in the chart right now, right here, is my potential analysis of where Bitcoin might go in the next couple of days and weeks to form the ultimate local bottom in the beginning of June. Currently, everybody is extremely greedy, and if you take a look at the fear and greed index, it's sitting at 73. Investors are greedy and they're ready for Bitcoin to actually smash all-time highs from there. My friends are writing to me saying that, hey, why not holding long positions? But I'm not holding them because I follow cycles. Guys, I want you to take a look at what I have here at the bottom of the chart. If I remove every single cycle, I'm going to remove every single cycle right now, and we're going to add it one by one to understand how each cycle implies the price action and how, using cycles, I was able to predict this upcoming bottom of Bitcoin. First of all, I want to add the 3-day cycle indicator, which we already discussed in the previous video, which shows the midterm performance for Bitcoin. Wait, let me just disable my strategies. They are not important right now. If you open TradingView chart, your chart will look like this. You have no chance of knowing where the price is going. It's completely random thing for you. Is it going up? Is it going down? There is no chance you're going to make money if you don't use some specific strategy. I use cycles, and I want you to also use cycles. I want you to learn how to apply cycles and understand where Bitcoin is going next. You use 3-day cycle indicator to understand whether the coin is overbought or oversold. Here we're clearly overbought. We spent so much time here at the bottom of the channel above 80 that it means that we need to go down for at least a little while. Just by looking at this indicator, I would say that we will definitely go down. However, I don't know how quickly we're going to go down, and I don't know what other indicators are showing. In order to know that, we add 1-day cycle indicator, which you also know from the previous video. 1-day cycle indicator shows top as well. Look, two indicators are showing top. 1-day cycle indicator, 3-day cycle indicator. There is no chance that we can simply start pumping up, smashing all-time highs just now. There is no chance for this to happen. Let me just delete everything what I painted, because I want to have this blue line, which is basically my prediction, always on the chart, and basically be able to compare and see whether this is really going to happen or not. So you already know the 1-day and 3-day cycle indicators, so we're not going to spend too much time with them. Now, what I want to show you, what I want to add into the chart, is the 12-hour cycle indicator, which actually is very similar to the 1-day cycle indicator. However, I prefer to have 12-hourly cycle. Let me put it at the top, because it reacts quicker to the price movements. And if you take a look now at the chart, let me put the 3-day down and let me readjust everything. I can see that here we formed a nice top, and here we're slowly going to the bottom. So basically, looking at these three indicators, I would already predict the price movement somewhere down. Let me change this color to a different one so that we always have this in the chart. Let me put it green. So looking at these indicators, I can say that we are going to simply go down, because each of those indicators is actually now showing that we formed the top. If we go back into the past and we see exactly same situation, for example, here, the 1-day, the 12-hourly, and the 3-day charts forming the top, and we are slowly moving down. When we are forming the bottom on the 12-hourly, we basically form the bottom in the price as well, and from there we go slightly up. Again, we form the top on the 12-hourly cycle, we form the top also on the price, and then we go again down to do what? To form the bottom here and to form the bottom on the 12-hourly cycle. However, 3-day indicator is still stretching up. However, it is not going to stretch up that much. If you go into the past and you find other extremely bullish periods, for example, here we were really bullish in the June 2024. I remember this period very well. I was at the beach in Spain by that time. We also were overstretched. Everybody wanted this to continue. However, we formed the bottom. Sorry, we formed the bottom here. That was incorrect. We formed the bottom here. We went up. We formed another top here. We went down. We went up, we formed another top here. And as you can see, we didn't have these huge price increases that we had before. Okay, on the 12 hourly here, it was huge price increase. Okay, a smaller retracement. And here the price increases became less and less and less. It means the trend is slowly changing. That's how you can actually understand this indicator. And what happened then? We simply started to grind down because the 3-day cycle indicator also started to simply go down. Okay. Now, the same is going to happen now. However, we want to know exactly when it's going to happen. We want to know the day, the specific day. In order to know that, we have to use some other indicators. We have to add 4-hour indicator on the chart as well and the 2-hour indicator on the chart as well. Once we have those indicators, let's put them to the top. I'm going to remove the daily because it's the daily basically showing almost the same information as the 12 hourly. However, 12 hourly behaves faster. Now, what we can see here is that we are at the bottom of the 4 hourly and the 2 hourly. Let's analyze what happened in the past in these cases. Well, right here, we can clearly see that when the 4 hourly touches below 20 together with the 2 hourly here, we have some sort of a bump. Okay, similar to the 12 hourly. Now, let's go a bit more to the past, and we can see that multiple times, whenever the 4-hour and the 2-hour meet below 20, we have some pump to the upside. It depends what happens with the 12 hourly and the 3-day. However, if the market is pumping, if the 3-day is pumping, then the 4-hour and 2-hour, they're extremely bullish, like they are here. They are bullish. 4 hourly is very bullish. 2 hourly was bullish before. So basically 2 hourly said, hey, this is the bottom. Let's consolidate and let's pump. And this happened multiple times in the past. Whenever we have issues with the 3-day cycle indicator, whenever it is falling or it is breaking, as it is here, then even the 4 hourly and even the 2 hourly, they're not that bullish anymore. Look, here we are falling in the price. We are forming the bottom on the 4 hourly. We are forming the bottom on the 2 hourly. And what happens then? The 2 hourly pushes up. We formed the top on the 2 hourly. However, the price just consolidated. The price didn't push up. In fact, it actually decreased. It decreased more than it pushed up. And then it simply consolidated. Now, this is not a bullish behavior. This is a bearish pattern. We know that basically if we're going to fall again, the price is going to fall one more time. And that's what happens. So the 2-hour indicator and the 4-hour indicator, they show you how the price is going to move within the next 1 to 2 to maximum 3 days. Okay. Now let's come back here and we have a very similar situation. Yes, the 2 hourly is making a bottom. The 4 hourly is making a bottom. The 3-day again is going down. It's crashing. Okay, right here, it's basically went up and again it goes down. And what we do here, we form some sort of a bottom. We slightly pump up. We pump up less than we went down, definitely less. We form a top and then we go down by even more. Okay, here, a similar situation. 2-hour top, 2-hour bottom, 4-hour bottom. We pump up slightly. Again, we went down by more in price than we pumped. We reached the top and we understand, hey, we're in a bearish situation. We are going to go down once again until the 3-day is finally comfortable saying, hey, I'm on the absolute bottom. From now, you can actually buy the asset. Look, one more time. We needed one more time to go around trip on the 4 hourly and the 2 hourly. Right here, we reversed on the 2 hourly. Basically, reversal acts like a bottom. The 4 hourly also had zero, below zero. We pumped up. This time we pumped slightly more. Yes, we reversed more than we pumped. However, the pump this time was much better than the previous one. For example, it was better than this one. Also, this pump was kind of similar to this one. However, this retracement was not that ugly as this one, right? So now the market is looking slightly better. If you take a look at here, the market looks slightly better than it looked before. What happened next? We actually, again, went down because the 4 hourly and the 2 hourly went down and the 3-day is still going down. And we formed an absolute bottom right here. Okay, so we needed actually to fully retrace and make an absolute bottom. And right after that, we started pumping up because the 3-day indicator slightly started to recover. We had one very good cycle already. The 12 hourly was great. The 4 hourly had 2 positive reversals here and here. It didn't touch zero. We went down. However, this time we stayed by the same bottom. Sure, we can see that we made a slightly lower low here. However, we will already making an absolute bottom, local bottom. Exactly, this is what we can expect right now from the charts. I'm going to go into short positions whenever we are going to pump. I'm waiting for the next pump. In fact, I believe that there will be a very small pump similar to this one that I drew here. Maybe we're not going to make a newer top. I know that retail is crazy, so they can push the price by a little bit. However, I don't believe that we are going to really go more than 106 or 107k. We are going to make a top, and then once these two indicators goes up, it will happen by Tuesday night, Wednesday, 14th of May. Kind of a similar situation going to happen 4-hourly. I believe that maybe even 4-hourly will start going down before it touches 80, or maybe it will slightly touch 80 and then will start going down. And this will be our short until we will be able to short until the bottom of the 12-hourly, and most probably until the bottom of the 3-day cycle. So this short can actually be slightly longer. We might have some sort of a consolidation phase. I don't know how it's going to look like. I basically drew this thing right here. It can be this, it can be a choppy market until we make an absolute bottom in the beginning of June. And why we're going to make an absolute bottom in the beginning of June? Because the other cycle indicators, the long-term cycle indicators, like 1 week, also is going to make a bottom in the beginning of June, right here. And we are going to pump from here once again, because the long-term indicators like the 2-week cycle is actually showing up. So guys, in order to basically make your prediction for Bitcoin, for any financial asset, all you have to do, you have to apply these cycle indicators. You join the long term from the part 1 with the short term from this part 2. You join those indicators and you start printing money. Don't forget to subscribe on the channel on SQL. Here, I want to show you a video of April 1st, 2025, when I predicted the cycle bottom for Ethereum using just 2 of my cycle indicators. Please listen up. You might not, okay? But what's going to happen, what I expect to hit 2,500 within a couple of weeks. That's the key level I'm watching for Ethereum. So if you want to have a nice trade, a simple trade on the BTC exchange, first of all, of course, you use my link. And second, just trade this. Just get in the market right now. Just exit the market when we are at this zone about 2,500. Why? Because I expect that the 1-week cycle indicator will start rising. Well, obviously it will start rising, and it will hit this area of 2.5k. Using cycle indicators, you can forecast with some sort of certainty where the market is going next, and you can actually make money for yourself. This is what I'm doing. I'm analyzing cycles. If you want to learn more about cycles, I recommend for you to go to strategymaster.substack.com. You will find the link in the description down below. Look at the previous articles, learn how I apply cycles. If you want to get cycle indicators yourself, simply subscribe right here. You will see your email inbox. Just put your email right there and you will start receiving information about cycles. You can buy a subscription which includes all the cycle indicators. It costs $49 per month. This is how you can get access to cycles. Guys, watch my live streams, watch how Bitcoin develops, and let's trade this market together.